Wing Commander Costley, members of the Municipal Council, 57th Squadron RAF Association, History Wings, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'd first like to convey apologies for Australia's Ambassador Caroline Miller and Defence Attaché Wing Commander Jessie LaRoche, who would have very much liked to have been here today. It is an honour to be here in East Flanders to participate in today's commemoration ceremony for the crashed Lancaster and to have witnessed the spectacular flypast. I was reminded over lunch that the G for George Lancaster resides in my home suburb back in Canberra in Australia. I acknowledge the extraordinary dedication of everyone involved to preserve the memory of the crew of Lancaster DXP of the 57th Squadron, and for your tireless commitment to commemorating the courage and sacrifice of our Air Force personnel in World War II. It symbolises the connections that bind Australians to Belgium and the local communities. Ceremonies such as today's allow us to recognise all military service and the sacrifices that they, their families and their communities have made in the pursuit of free, just and peaceful societies. When war broke out in Europe in 1939, Royal Australian Air Force aircrews were among the first Australians to head overseas to Britain's aid. Between 1939 and 1945, they flew in both Australian and British squadrons with the Royal Air Force in coastal bomber and fighter commands. Australians served mainly as aircrew, pilots, engineers, navigators, wireless operators, observers and air gunners. Some also went as ground crew and carried out the maintenance and administrative tasks on the ground necessary to keep aircraft flying. The most costly missions for Australians were the RAF Bomber Command, and the Australian air crews flew in virtually every major operation. Today, let us remember the crew of the Lancaster DXP W4234 of 57 RAF Squadron, who lost their lives in the winter of 1942 for our freedom. I would like to pay a particular tribute to Flight Engineer Sergeant Cecil Raymond Stubbs, the digger from Newcastle, Australia, who was 28 years old when he died. Sergeant Cecil Raymond Stubbs enlisted in June 1940, and he had 18 months' service overseas before that fateful flight. I would like to share with you a message sent from his nephew with the same name. The message reads, I'm once again reminded of the wonderful people of Belgium, and particularly the residents of Lierde. Whilst I reflect on all the too short life of my Uncle Cess, your dedication, compassion and commitment to ensuring the crew of Lancaster Bomber DXP will never be forgotten is a continuing source of comfort to me and my family. Nobody wants to glorify war, but the young men and women who gave their tomorrow for our today deserve our undying respect for the sacrifice they made. I'm also aware they demonstrated endurance, courage, ingenuity and good humour, spiced with a little bit of Aussie larricism. I only hope that I can live up to some of their ideals. Somebody a lot wiser than me once said, may the lamps they lit to guide our path never go out. The memorial service held today exemplifies that noble spirit, and the people of Belgium can be proud of your ongoing commitment. I note that Sergeant Stubbs' headstone is engraved, his duty nobly done. Every one of the airmen was a son, a brother, a father, a friend. Today we honour and remember them all. On days of remembrance, not only do we acknowledge with gratitude those who served and continue to serve, and their families and loved ones, but we also recommit. Tragically, we are called to honour that commitment again today, with the terrible violence of Russia's unprovoked and illegal invasion of Ukraine. It is important to reaffirm the values which unite us as free, sovereign, democratic societies guided by the rule of law. On behalf of the Government and people of Australia, I thank the community for your commitment and dedication to remembering the sacrifice of earlier generations. Thank you.